Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are opening up a file that is, well, it's essentially a collision course.
A collision course.
Yeah, imagine, if you will, two completely different planets just hurtling through the vacuum of space.
Right.
They have their own gravity, their own atmospheres, completely different rules of physics. And they're absolutely destined to smash into each other.
That is a very vivid, if somewhat catastrophic image to start with.
I know.
But it's actually quite accurate for the story we are analyzing today.
Well, catastrophe is kind of part of the appeal, isn't it? I mean, on one planet, you have this impeccable high society art world. We're talking Paris and New York. Think heavy bronze doors, millions of dollars changing hands in these like hushed whispers,
Yeah.
18th century antiques, and just absolute rigid control. It's a world preserved in amber.
Right. And on the other planet.
You have the chaotic, messy, quote-unquote wacky world of a starving artist. A world where socks are completely optional. Shoelaces are missing. Impulse is basically the only law. Life is lived entirely in the visceral moment.
We are, of course, talking about the novel Impossible by Danielle Steel.
Yes, we are.
And while on the surface it definitely presents as a romance, if you look really closely at the source material we have today, it's really a psychological study.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about grief, it's about the rigidity of professional boundaries, and the absolute terror involved in just letting go.
Exactly. So our mission today, for you listening, is to really analyze the intersection of these two worlds through the lives of our main subjects, Sasha de Suvery and Liam Allison.
Mm-hmm.
We want to answer a central question here. Can a perfect, hyper-controlled life actually accommodate total chaos? And is that chaos sometimes exactly what's needed to heal?
It connects back to a very specific theme mentioned right at the beginning of the source material.
Right, the quote.
Yeah. There is an excerpt from The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry included in the text. And it talks about taming.
Please, tame me. That's the quote. It's iconic.
Right. And the text defines taming as to establish ties. It says, if you tame me, it will be as if the sun came to shine on my life.
Wow.
So the core argument we're really going to explore today is that Sasha and Liam are essentially taming each other.
By breaking down defenses.
Exactly, breaking down the defenses they've built against the world. But in this context, taming doesn't mean dominating.
Right.
It means becoming vulnerable enough to actually need someone.
I love that.
Yeah.
But before we get to the taming part, we really have to talk about the wildness, or I guess the total lack of it on one side.
The total lack of it, yes.
Let's unpack the character of Sasha de Suvery. Because, okay, reading through her profile and the sources, she is incredibly intimidating.
She is the absolute definition of pedigree. Sasha isn't just an art dealer. She is the daughter of Simon de Suvery. And in the art world described in the book, that is basically like being royalty.
The source describes Simon as a very daunting figure. Tall, stern, dark eyes that just pierce your soul. And he ran a gallery on the Faubourg Saint-Honoré in Paris.
Which is huge.
Right. I want to pause on that location for a second for anyone who hasn't been there. Faubourg Saint-Honoré. This isn't some little pop-up shop in Brooklyn.
No, absolutely not. The Faubourg Saint-Honoré is the epicenter of French luxury. It's history.
Yeah.
This is where the presidential palace is located. It's where the Hermès flagship store is.
Very old money.
Exactly. It is a place where anything new is looked upon with intense suspicion.
Right, right.
So by placing Simon's gallery there, and by extension, Sasha's whole legacy, the author is telling us right away that Sasha is the guardian of the old order.
She's in a fortress.
It's a literal fortress of the elite.
So Sasha grew up in this temple to the great masters. But she didn't just inherit it, right? She earned it.
Oh, she definitely earned it.
She went to the Sorbonne.
Yeah.
She got a PhD from Columbia. And now she runs this entire empire.
And she expanded it, which is a really key detail for her psychological profile. Well, her father dealt exclusively in old masters. Rembrandt, the heavy hitters of the 17th and 18th centuries.
Safe investments.
Very safe. Sasha respected that, but she actually fought him to open a contemporary wing.
Oh, interesting.
So she has a foot in the past, but also a foot in the modern world. She runs the Paris location, plus a very prestigious brownstone gallery on 64th Street in New York.
Wow.
She is just hyper competent.
But, opening that contemporary wing, does that suggest a crack in her armor? Like, even early on?
I really think so. It suggests that even before the main events of the book, a part of her was looking for something new, something alive.
Because contemporary art is messy.
It's risky. The value fluctuates wildly. The artists are still alive, which means
They can cause scandals.
exactly, they can embarrass you, they can completely change their style. Old masters are safe because dead artists don't talk back.
Right.
Opening that wing was Sasha's subconscious admission that she needed life, even if it was a bit risky.
But here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, really sad. When we meet her in the book, she isn't just a successful businesswoman.
Yeah.
She is essentially a shell, a very elegant, very well-dressed shell.
We have to talk about the ghost in the room. Arthur Boardman,
Her husband.
Sasha's late husband.
Mm-hmm.
And by all accounts in the text, Arthur was just perfect for her. He was a banker,
Mm-hmm.
which means he understood money, structure, tradition. He was safe. And they were married for 25 years.
A really long time.
Yeah.
And then, 16 months before the story begins, he dies of a massive heart attack right at his desk.
Just like that.
Just like that. No warning, no illness, gone.
And that suddenness is so important to understand her. It creates a trauma response that literally freezes time.
Oh, yeah.
Sasha's reaction isn't just sadness, it's a total systemic shutdown.
The text actually describes her as becoming a zombie.
A zombie,
Yeah.
yes. She feels her life is essentially over. She's 48 years old, and she has just unilaterally decided that the romantic, joyful part of her existence is done, finished.
It's a defense mechanism, right?
Absolutely. We see this in grief counseling often. It's specifically tied to what we call complicated grief. She creates this void around herself.
She totally isolates herself.
She refuses to date. She actually calls the idea disgusting at one point.
Wow. Disgusting.
Yeah. And she throws herself entirely into the gallery work because that's the only place where she has any control.
That makes sense. Art doesn't leave you.
Exactly. Art doesn't have a heart attack at its desk. Art stays exactly where you hang it.
There is a specific detail in the source that really stuck with me. It's about her refrigerator.
The empty fridge.
Yes. Later in the story, Liam, the other character we'll get to in a second, he looks in her freezer, and there is literally nothing but ice.
Nothing.
And in the fridge, maybe some soup that the housekeeper left. That's it. It's this stark, terrifying symbol of how she's living. She is sustaining herself, but she isn't nourishing herself.
It's the fundamental difference between surviving and living. An empty fridge says, I am not planning for the future. I am not enjoying the present.
I am just fueling the machine.
Just fueling the machine. But it goes deeper psychologically. It's almost a loyalty pledge to the dead.
A loyalty pledge? How do you mean?
It's like she's saying, I will not consume life because you cannot.
Oh, wow.
If she fills the fridge, if she starts cooking big, beautiful meals, does that mean she's forgetting Arthur? Does that mean she's moving on?
That's the guilt trap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By keeping the house dark and the fridge empty, she is maintaining a shrine to her loss.
So she's technically alive, but she's not living. She's this ice queen in an ivory tower, totally protected by her grief and her strict routine.
Yeah.
I mean, she has her children, Xavier and Tatiana, who are grown up now.
Yeah.
But other than them, she has built an absolute fortress of solitude.
And she thinks she is safe there. That's the real tragedy of it.
Right.
She genuinely thinks the walls keep the pain out.
Yeah.
But really, the walls are just keeping the life out.
And then, crashing headfirst into that fortress, comes the wacky artist. Let's talk about Liam Allison.
Talk about a study in extreme contrasts. If Sasha is order, Liam is pure entropy.
Pure entropy.
He is 39, so he's 9 years younger than Sasha. But emotionally and stylistically, that gap seems so much wider.
Visually, you definitely can't miss him. He's tall, he has this long blonde ponytail, he wears cowboy boots.
Always the boots.
And here is the detail that I just love. He refuses to wear socks. Ever. And half the time, he actually takes the laces out of his shoes.
It sounds like a quirky character trait, but let's analyze that for a moment. Why remove laces? Why skip socks?
Yeah, why?
It's a conscious rejection of the standard uniform of adulthood.
Oh, interesting.
Socks and laces are about binding things, securing things, buttoning up. Liam is literally and metaphorically unbinding himself from society's rules.
But is he just being a hipster? Or is there a real historical precedent for this kind of, eccentric behavior in artists?
Oh, there's a very rich tradition. Think of Salvador Dali walking an anteater down the street on a leash.
Right.
Or think of Andy Warhol's silver wig. The eccentric artist is a recognized social role. Society actually expects artists to be a little weird.
That's true.
If Liam showed up in a tailored three-piece suit and wanted to discuss his 401k, Sasha probably wouldn't trust his art.
That's so ironic. So by acting chaotic, he's actually fulfilling a weird professional expectation.
In a way, yes. But with Liam, the text suggests it's far more personal than just playing a role. It's about tactile sensation.
Tactile.
He needs to physically feel the world. Socks block the feeling of the shoe. Laces restrict the natural movement of the foot.
He hates barriers.
Exactly. He wants to remove all barriers between himself and his environment. Think about Sasha. She is all about barriers. Leather gloves, heavy coats, massive bronze doors.
Yes.
Liam is entirely about skin-to-skin contact with the world.
But where does that intense need come from? Because the source material gives us a pretty tragic backstory for him, too. It's not just a fashion choice.
It really does. Liam is the quote-unquote black sheep of a very conservative, very wealthy banking family.
A banking family. Note the parallel there.
Exactly. Sasha's husband was a banker. Liam's family are bankers. He is actively rebelling against the exact archetype that Sasha married.
And his family treated him like a total pariah.
Complete pariah. He was expelled from multiple schools. He used to paint cruel caricatures of his teachers.
Oh, man.
He refused to follow the rules because following the rules got him nowhere with his rigid family. So what did he do? He leaned heavily into the chaos.
He weaponized it.
Yes.
Yeah.
He decided, if you think I'm weird, I'm going to be the absolute weirdest person you know.
But despite the cowboy boots and the strict no-socks policy, he is technically a grown man with a lot of heavy baggage. I mean, he's married, right?
He is. He has a wife named Beth, and they have 3 children together. But when we first meet him in the story, he's estranged.
Living in London.
Right. His wife is back in Vermont with the kids, and he's squatting in his studio in London.
And this brings us to the scandal.
Yeah.
We have to unpack why he's estranged. Because for you listening, this isn't just a simple case of we grew apart.
No.
This is incredibly messy.
It is remarkably messy. Liam confesses to Sasha later on that he slept with his wife's twin sister, Becky.
Oof. The twin sister. That is a very special kind of betrayal.
It is the ultimate taboo, and we really need to look at why he did it.
Yeah, why blow up his life like that?
Well, he describes it as a brief moment of stupidity fueled by a lot of alcohol. But if you analyze his psychological profile, it perfectly fits his pattern.
The self-sabotage.
He sabotages stability. Beth, his wife, had supported him financially and emotionally for 20 years. She worked multiple jobs just to let him paint.
She was the rock.
She was the anchor. And in one single night, he blew the entire foundation up.
It's almost as if he couldn't handle the massive debt of gratitude he owed her, like it was too heavy.
Or the pressure of being the supported artist, the expectation to succeed. So he nuked the relationship to free himself from that burden.
Wow.
It's the double-edged sword of the creative temperament. The exact same impulse that tells him to paint a shirt bright red is the impulse that says, sleep with this person.
Just zero impulse control.
Impulse without regulation.
So we have a man who is impulsive, highly self-destructive, and seemingly allergic to any form of responsibility.
Yeah.
And yet,
And
he's a total genius.
that is the massive complication here. If he were just a messy guy, Sasha wouldn't give him the time of day.
Never.
But Xavier, Sasha's son, absolutely insists she go see his work while she's in London. And when she finally does, she admits it makes her heart pound.
Her heart pounds
Yeah.
for the art.
Yes. His use of color, the raw energy on the canvas, it's undeniable brilliance.
So you have the Ice Queen and the wacky artist. This stage is completely set for a collision. And that collision finally happens in London.
It starts right at his studio. Sasha goes there basically expecting a disaster.
She's just humoring her son.
Right. She expects to be polite to her son's friend for 10 minutes and then leave. Instead, she's blown away. She offers him gallery representation and a contract on the spot.
And Liam's reaction is just, it's pure Liam. He's bouncing off the walls. He literally says he'd give his left nut to sign with her.
Which Sasha very politely declines.
Testicles are not in our contract. I just love that line.
It's great.
It shows her dry wit, even when she's being completely professional. But the real turning point isn't the studio. It's dinner. She invites him to dinner to celebrate the new contract, and she chooses Harry's Bar.
Harry's Bar is a total institution in London. It's elegant, it's highly exclusive, it is very much Sasha's world.
Oh, yeah.
It's the kind of place where if you drop a salad fork, 3 waiters dive to catch it before it hits the floor.
And Liam shows up. Well, let's describe the outfit he chose for Harry's Bar.
It's basically a scene of social violation. He shows up in a suit, which, okay, is a good start.
Right, a suit.
But the shirt, he painted it red himself.
Naturally.
It's a work of art, sure, but it's a stiff, hand-painted shirt.
Mm.
And the shoes, no laces, obviously. And, of course, no socks.
Sasha is mortified. She's a woman who cares deeply about appearances, about propriety. She is sweating over what the maitre d' is going to think.
Because in a place like Harry's, the dress code isn't just a suggestion. It's a sign of respect. Respect for the establishment, respect for the other diners.
Right.
By completely ignoring it, Liam is effectively broadcasting, my personal comfort is way more important than your societal rules.
But despite the embarrassment, she's also charmed. She actually ends up physically tying his tie for him because he claims he's forgotten how.
That moment is so incredibly intimate.
Very intimate.
Think about the physical mechanics of tying a tie on someone else. You have to stand very close. You have to look directly at their throat.
You're in their space.
It's a gesture of care, but it's also a gesture of binding. She is literally trying to bind him into the social order just so they can get through dinner without getting kicked out.
That is such a motherly gesture, isn't it?
It is, and that's a big part of the dynamic early on. She definitely sees him as a boy.
And he acts like one.
He does.
Yeah.
But underneath that mother-son dynamic, there is this magnetic, simmering attraction that catches her completely off guard.
The conversation at dinner shifts from business to the deeply personal. Very quickly. They realize they have this profound shared trauma. They both lost their mothers when they were young. They both feel this deep, echoing loneliness in their lives.
And that shared vulnerability immediately starts breaking down the walls. Liam confesses all about the messy affair with the sister-in-law.
He lays it all out.
Sasha talks openly about Arthur. They stop being the prestigious art dealer and the wild artist, and they just become two very lonely people sitting in a crowded room.
And then the spark basically becomes a raging fire. He walks her back to her hotel, which is Claridge's.
Very fancy.
Very fancy. And there's this amazing banter about underwear. Sasha starts wondering out loud if the whole no socks policy extends to, everything else.
Which is a very bold, very flirtatious question for the Ice Queen to ask.
Right.
It really shows that the ice is rapidly melting.
He actually proves he is wearing underwear, which is a funny, very human moment. But it leads to something much more serious. The physicality just takes over completely. They sleep together.
This is a massive deal for Sasha. She has a very strict professional rule. Never, ever sleep with artists.
Never.
It's messy, it's complicated, it's deeply unprofessional. And yet with Liam, she breaks that rule immediately on the first night.
Well, why? I mean, why him, of all people?
I really think it's because he's the exact opposite of death.
Oh, wow.
Arthur is dead. Her day-to-day life is dead. Liam is so alive, he's practically vibrating. He is bright, screaming color in her black and white world.
That makes total sense.
She is literally starving for vitality, and he is just an all-you-can-eat buffet of it.
But the morning after syndrome hits her incredibly hard.
Oh, it hits like a freight train. You see the immediate divergence in their two worldviews right there in the hotel room.
Sasha wakes up in a full-blown panic.
Total panic. She says, this is impossible. She starts rattling off the list of reasons. The 9-year age gap. The professional ethics, the fact that he's technically still married, the fact that she's a respectable widow.
She's doing the math.
She is looking at the Excel spreadsheet of her life, and the numbers absolutely do not add up.
And Liam, how does he react?
Liam is the eternal optimist here. He just looks at her and says, it's possible.
Just like that.
He doesn't see the rules at all. He only sees the human connection. He doesn't care about the spreadsheet.
So Sasha does what Sasha does best when she's threatened. She retreats. She runs all the way back to Paris. She tries to just shove the chaos back in the box and lock it. She actually calls the whole night temporary insanity.
She tries desperately to reestablish the old order, but the source material does something really smart here. It introduces a foil character to show us, and the reader, why she can't just go back to her old life anymore.
We have to talk about Gonzague de Saint-Mallory.
The French Count.
This guy is a piece of work. Truly.
He really is the absolute epitome of the high society world Sasha ostensibly belongs to.
Yeah.
He's incredibly rich. He drives a Ferrari. He has an aristocratic title. He invites Sasha to dinner at this highly exclusive 3-star Michelin restaurant to ostensibly discuss buying a very expensive painting.
So on paper, he is the absolute perfect match for the respectable widow Boardman.
Exactly. On paper, it works perfectly. But the actual interaction is incredibly revealing. It turns out he doesn't really want the painting at all.
No, he wants Sasha.
He wants Sasha.
Yeah.
He basically implies very heavily that if she sleeps with him, Or if she accompanies him to St. Moritz for a ski weekend, he'll buy the art as a favor.
He literally tries to buy her.
It's entirely transactional. It's cold. It's calculated.
Commodification.
Yes. He sees her as just another luxury object to acquire for his collection, exactly like the painting. And Sasha is furious. She tells him off in spectacular fashion and leaves.
Good for her.
But the contrast is what really matters for the listener here. Gonzague offers immense wealth and status, but absolutely no genuine respect or emotional connection.
Liam.
Liam offers absolutely nothing but himself, his messy, sockless, deeply honest self. And that raw authenticity is what Sasha is slowly realizing she actually needs.
And Liam definitely doesn't let her go either. He pursues her, but, in his own very specific Liam way, he sends her a massive bouquet of red roses.
With a very short note that just says, it's possible.
And she tears up the card. She's trying so hard to resist the pull. But then he shows up in Paris. Unannounced, in the pouring rain.
This is the classic grand romantic gesture. It's the Lloyd Dobler with the boombox outside the window moment.
Totally.
But it's also highly invasive. He just appears at her doorstep without calling. He's soaking wet. He's wearing a ratty sweatshirt. He's pathetic and completely adorable. And Sasha, completely against her better judgment, lets him in.
And what do?
Yeah.
Because they don't go to a fancy gala. They don't go to a Michelin star dinner like with the Count. They go out to get ice cream.
Barcelona. The best ice cream in Paris.
This scene is just so pivotal to me. Liam asks if she has any ice cream at home, and she says no. Her freezer is completely empty, remember?
Yeah.
Just the ice.
Right.
So he takes her out. They walk together in the pouring rain. They eat ice cream cones on the street.
He is literally dragging her back to the land of the living.
Yeah.
He is forcing her to engage with simple, childish, sensory pleasures. Ice cream, the feeling of cold rain on your face, going to the movies.
Stuff she forgot how to do.
Exactly. These are things Sasha hasn't done in years because she's been way too busy playing the role of the tragic widow and the serious, unshakable businesswoman.
He's thawing the ice cream with sugar cones. I love it.
Precisely. He is showing her that joy isn't something you schedule for the next fiscal quarter on a spreadsheet. It's something you just grab on a rainy Tuesday afternoon.
And this leads us to what I think is the most significant symbol in the entire book.
Oh, yes.
The pup.
The puppy. This is where the taming metaphor from The Little Prince becomes incredibly literal.
Okay, so they are walking along the Seine in Paris during this weekend, and they wander into a pet shop.
Which is something she hasn't done since her kids were little.
Right. And they see this tiny runt of a litter, a little Cocker Spaniel. And Liam just falls instantly in love with it. He turns to Sasha and tells her she needs a dog.
And Sasha, being the hyper-practical Sasha we know, says absolutely not. It's impossible.
Too much work.
Too much work, too much mess. She travels constantly between New York and Paris. It's a terrible idea.
But Liam doesn't listen to the word impossible. He flies back to London, and a few days later, a crate arrives at the gallery in Paris.
He actually sends her the dog.
He sends the dog, and Sasha, in a moment of brilliant irony, names the dog Socks.
Which is just a perfect little jab at Liam.
It really is.
But look at what the dog actually represents in the narrative.
Let's get psychological about the dog for a second. Why a dog specifically? Why didn't he send a cat? Or, I don't know, a nice houseplant?
Because a dog requires active, constant engagement.
Right.
A cat can largely ignore you. A plant can die quietly in the corner if you forget about it. A puppy cries in the night. A puppy demands to be held and walked.
It's needy.
It is pure biological chaos. It is raw need. It is urgency.
The source material explicitly points out that the dog pees on Sasha's priceless antique rugs almost immediately.
And Sasha accepts it.
That's the key right there. She doesn't freak out. She doesn't send the dog back. She just cleans it up.
This completely signifies her walls breaking down. She is finally allowing the mess into her pristine, antique-filled, silent home.
Yeah.
She is allowing something to actively need her again, something living that requires daily care, not just careful curation.
You can't curate a puppy.
No, you can't. You have to live with it.
Is there a specific clinical term for this in psychology, what Liam is doing with the dog?
We often talk about transitional objects. Usually it's for children, like a security blanket or a teddy bear to help them self-soothe. But here, the dog is functioning as a transitional object for Sasha's heart.
Interesting.
It bridges the massive gap between her total isolation and a full-blown relationship with a human being.
Because it's safer to love the dog than to love Liam.
Exactly. The dog won't sleep with its sister-in-law.
True.
The dog won't pack up and move back to London. It allows her to practice the dormant muscles of love, the worrying, the caring, the cleaning, the feeding, all without the full existential risk of a romantic human partner.
But the dog came directly from Liam.
Which makes it a brilliant Trojan horse. Every single time she loves that dog, she is implicitly accepting Liam's gift, and therefore she is accepting Liam himself.
He planted a spy in her fortress.
A very cute urinating spy, but a spy nonetheless.
And the name. Socks. It's a joke, sure. There's also a permanent daily reminder of him.
Every time she calls the dog to come eat, she is literally saying the name of the thing Liam absolutely refuses to wear. It's a constant linguistic link tying her back to him.
It totally connects back to that Little Prince theme we talked about.
Okay.
To establish ties. Liam forced a tie on her. He gave her something to tame, and in doing so, he's actively taming her.
And it perfectly sets up the final confrontation of the story. Sasha is falling deeply in love with the dog, and by proxy, falling much deeper in love with Liam.
But she is still fighting it.
She is fighting it hard. The cognitive dissonance is hitting its absolute peak. She is terrified of how much she cares, so she gives him an ultimatum.
She calls him on the phone.
Right. She calls him and says, "Do not come to Paris this weekend. Do not visit me. It's over."
Last time. She feels the loss of control over her safe little life, and it absolutely terrifies her. And Liam argues with her. He says something really profound during this call. He asks, "Do you ever think about anything but disaster?"
It's a brilliant question. He completely challenges her worldview. She is operating entirely out of fear.
Fear of everything.
Fear of judgment from society, fear of loss, fear of looking ridiculous to her peers. She's terrified that if she truly loves him, she'll lose him just like she lost Arthur. Or worse, she'll just look like a foolish older woman with a toy boy.
Right.
But Liam is operating out of hope. He's begging her to bet on the upside of life, not just constantly hedge against the downside.
So she tells him not to come.
Yeah.
And what does he do? Because he's Liam.
He comes anyway.
Of course he does. He shows up on her doorstep on Saturday night.
But this time, the dynamic shifts significantly. And this is crucial for the listener to understand. This isn't just about him arrogantly bulldozing her boundaries.
Right, it's not aggressive.
No, he doesn't push for sex. He looks at her and sees that she is genuinely scared. So he offers a compromise. He says, "I'll sleep in the guest room. I'll sleep in Xavier's old room. I just want to be near you."
That restraint is really important, isn't it? It proves to her that it's not just about a fling for him.
Exactly. It validates the depth of his feelings. He just wants to be in her orbit. He wants to be in the quiet house with her and the dog. He wants the boring domestic reality, not just the exciting hotel affair.
And Sasha accepts this compromise. She cooks for him. They eat ice cream again, of course. And she sends him upstairs to the guest room.
But then we have the mirror scene.
The mirror scene.
Sasha is in her bathroom brushing her teeth, wearing her everyday nightgown, and she looks up and sees him standing behind her in the mirror.
The moment of total stripped-down vulnerability. No makeup, getting ready for bed. This is the real Sasha. This isn't the intimidating gallery owner in the Chanel suit.
Exactly. And he just stands there. He doesn't make a move. He just says, "I understand, Sasha. I promise I won't do anything you don't want."
And that's the moment she breaks. She finally realizes that what she wants is him. The impossible scenario becomes entirely inevitable. She drops the toothbrush, turns around, and just opens her arms to him.
And the resolution that weekend is it's just peace. They spend Sunday in bed. They play with the dog on the floor. They eat more ice cream. It's incredibly domestic. It's simple.
Sasha finally accepts that it might be insane by society's strict standards.
Yeah.
I mean, she's 48, he's 39, she's his boss, technically, and he's a walking sockless disaster zone. But despite all of that, she is happy.
And that happiness is the ultimate rebuttal to the concept of the impossible.
So let's zoom out for a second. We've hit all the story beats, but what is the deep dive takeaway here? For everyone listening, why does this story matter beyond just being a fun romance novel?
I think it matters because it's about the fundamental human clash between order and vitality.
Order and vitality.
Yes. Sasha represents order. Her life is perfectly beautiful, perfectly curated, and completely dead. Liam represents vitality. His life is messy, highly chaotic, and vibrantly alive.
And the lesson is that you really can't have life without a little bit of mess.
Exactly. The definition of impossible in this book is purely societal. Society says this relationship is impossible because of the age gap, the class difference, the professional conflict.
But emotional reality says it is entirely necessary.
Right. It challenges the pervasive idea that grief requires you to be solemn forever.
That's a huge point.
Sasha felt she had to play the role of the widow Boardman. She had to wear dark colors and be deadly serious. She thought honoring her dead husband meant functionally dying alongside him.
And Liam showed her that healing doesn't always look like therapy and quiet reflection. Sometimes healing looks like a brightly painted shirt and a puppy peeing on a rug.
It's a permission slip for joy. Even if that joy absolutely doesn't make sense on paper, it suggests that sometimes the things that look like terrible mistakes, the wrong guy, the wrong timing, the noisy dog you swore you didn't want, those are actually the exact medicine you need to survive.
The real utility here is in reevaluating the concept of the quote-unquote impossible. We all have things in our lives we quickly label impossible.
Oh, constant.
Like, it's impossible for me to change careers at 40. It's impossible for me to find love after a terrible divorce.
We use the word impossible as a brick wall. We use it to protect ourselves from the possibility of failure. Because if we declare it impossible, we don't even have to try.
Exactly.
Sasha used the word impossible to protect herself from the terrifying pain of potential loss. But the book argues that impossible is often just a synonym for terrifying.
So the takeaway for the listener is this. Identify where you are using the word impossible in your own life, and really ask yourself if you actually just mean scary.
Exactly. Sasha found that the impossible scenario, dating a much younger, erratic artist, was actually the only viable path to true happiness.
Right.
The possible scenario, dating the boring count or just staying alone in her fortress, was a guaranteed path to lifelong misery. Sometimes the impossible choice is literally the only one that leads back to life.
And that leads us perfectly to our final thought for the listener today.
Yeah.
There is a line Liam says to Sasha late in the story that just haunts me a little bit. He says, "You just want me because you can't have me."
It raises a very provocative question to leave on. Is their relationship actually fueled by the thrill of the forbidden?
Yeah.
Is it just a temporary vacation from reality for Sasha? Or is this messy collision the only way two deeply broken people can actually heal each other?
Right. Can a relationship built on eating ice cream and hiding out for weekends in Paris actually survive the harsh light of the real world? Can the dirty cowboy boots and the priceless antique rugs truly coexist forever?
That is the lingering question the book leaves us with. It doesn't promise a neat, happily ever after in the traditional fairy tale sense. It just promises happily right now.
And sometimes, happily right now is more than enough.
It has to be.
And hey, it might require buying a chaotic puppy and ruining a few expensive antique rugs to get there.
Indeed, it might.
A very small price to pay for waking up from the dead.
Thanks for diving in with us today.
Until next time.